meditation every day. Like,
As soon as I wake up, that's the first thing I do.
it's because it's stillness.
Mhm.
And when you're prone to like overthinking, it's like it's you are I'm trying to like make it so that instead of always overthinking, I maybe take a pause, like maybe slow everything down a little bit so I can kind of just be more mindful. And then one of the biggest things that I learned, got really big into biohacking.
I
And
watched that video.
it's my
That was
life.
so funny.
Thank you. So I went to this workshop and I met this woman. Her name is Dr. Shauna Shapiro. Shout out to you. She is.
I know who that is.
Really?
Yeah.
She's one of my good friends now.
Oh, really? Okay.
I adore
That's
her.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to see her next week. She asked me to go to Esalen Institute and help her, which is so cool. It's like a mindfulness. It's Big Sur, very hippie. Anyway, but I watched her give this talk, and she is a psychologist and a neuroscience, and she studies the brain and how compassion and love, you can actually, if self-compassion is one of the only things that can help you rewire your neural pathway. So if you're beating yourself up every day because whatever, let's say I'm trying to, eat healthy and I have an Oreo and I'm like, you're so stupid. Why would you do that? You're so
worst.
weak. The next day, you're going to do it again
Mhm.
because but the second you go like, hey, it's okay, your brain, because when you're shaming yourself, your brain goes into fight or flight mode. You can't you can't change anything. You're just like, okay, nothing, this is how I am. It freezes. But when you treat yourself with compassion and kindness, it allows an opening for your brain to relax, and you can create new neural pathways. And the second I heard that, I was like, okay, well, if it's for science, then I guess I could do it. I literally remember being like, all right, if science says that's what I have to do. But it's obviously a process of how to do that, especially when you've been, on yourself your whole life. But it really has changed the way that I think and navigate through the world. And it's really helped me a lot.
I remember the first time I read Dispenza and reading some of that, I was like, this is a crock of
Yeah.
reading this. And I
Yeah.
keep reading it, and I'm like, all right, well, let me just buy it because I paid money for the book. It's like, maybe he's onto something here. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I was like, show me the brain scans.
Yeah.
And she's showing. I'm like, fuck. Right.
Welcome to the chaos.
Yeah, I was watching a few of your videos last night and this morning, and that's crazy. You write all of them, or
All of them, yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Your dialogue, I was gonna say, is the way that I imagine myself wanting to be able to speak.
Oh my God.
Like, it's so intelligent and funny and witty,
Thank you.
and it's like the dialogue you have in your head, but when you speak, it doesn't come out that
you know,
way.
like
You
that,
know what I mean?
Like
Yeah.
that's what's funny about your content. It's like same thing. Every time I watched it, I'm just like, oh, that's what we all want to say, but don't say.
Yeah.
Or you just don't have the capacity to, like,
Yeah.
in the moment.
Or I just don't have the gump to like put it out there. I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna go over well.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, me either. It's really a gamble every time.
Yes.
Hope this doesn't get me canceled. Oh man. No, but I think it's like, as long as it's coming from like a genuine place, then, and like, you're not like outwardly offensive. It's kind of like, I've seen that, or I am that. It's like there's a weird, delicate line to walk these days.
But like, isn't that part of being a comedian? Like we had Nick Novicki was on, and we were talking about that things. But like, I've also seen love Jim Jeffries, and
Yeah.
I saw an interview with Jim Jeffries where he's like, "Yo, as a comedian, my job is to go to the line. It is
Yeah.
not my fault that the line moved back here. I should not be punished for something I said in 2000 when it was okay
Fine.
to say that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And people are like, well, like I can't watch Eddie Murphy Delirious. It's like, so we're talking about something in 1986.
Yeah, right.
Oh my
Which
God.
I mean, and I hope this doesn't get me canceled. I still laugh hysterically.
It's
every
hilarious.
time. Like I could do it word for word.
I mean, that's classic. That's
It's
like,
one of the like number one stand-up Delirious and Raw are
Yes.
like arguably 1, 2, and 3 like of all time.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are you going to take? Because that's why Kevin Hart got canceled on the Oscars because of a tweet he made like 15.
Yeah.
Like I understand cancel culture and respecting people, but like there's a certain line, and I feel like we've gone way too far.
yes, I agree. But I mean, it's not, I don't think it's everyone. I think it's like, whoever has the loudest voice wins, kind of.
That's the problem though, because the loudest voice will win.
Right. Yeah, I know. But it's, I don't know. It's such a weird time. But I always am like, thank God, I like observational comedy. So I'm generally like situations and people. I'm not like a political person.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You can't be nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, you can be. Like my friend JP Sears, he's huge, but he's just like right wing, and like that is his lane, and he kills it. But he also, if you meet him in person, he's the nicest, like most. I'm like, he's practically Canadian. He's so nice. I've never met anyone nicer than him. But all of my friends, just that are on the left, see him and they're like, he's a piece of shit. Blah, blah. I'm like, he's the nicest guy, and they don't even. They're like, really? I'm like, he's so nice, but that's like,
This is a character that he's playing, basically.
Yeah, and it's also like that. There is a lane that you have to respect. If just because you don't think it's funny doesn't mean it's not allowed to be funny. Like, obviously, like, don't be a piece of about it. But if it's coming from like if it's a good joke,
it's a good joke.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel. I'm like, you can really joke about anything if it's actually a good joke. If you don't think it's funny or you get offended, then like, some people don't like the color yellow, but like that doesn't mean it's a bad color.
Yeah.
I like the comparison.
That's my comparison.
That's
my comparison. Take it or like that.
But I think like we like you said, like it's the loudest voice. Like we live in such extremes right now, but it's such a small. There's like 1% here, 1% here, and the rest of us are all in like the middle. Just like, yeah, I agree with some stuff here. I agree with so like, and then politics, comedy, religion is like, yeah, I agree with some of this. I agree with some of this. I don't agree with some of this. I don't agree with some of this.
Right.
But I feel like there's so much more of us that are in the middle, but we just like, I don't really want to argue with these people with a loud voice. Like, yo, don't you have a hobby? Like,
that
find
is their
something
hobby.
to do. That is
their identity.
That's true. That is their identity.
Yeah, and
they're on social media just trolling away.
Yeah, you can't get it. You can't win an argument on social media. It's just it just brings you down.
I choose not to, or like I said this on another episode. Like I had somebody trolling me on social media on like some of my poetry stuff. Like another white rapper out here. I'm like, one, I'm not a rapper. That's number one. I'm a poet. Get your shit.
Yeah.
Two is like, I don't care about your anxiety. It's like, man, who hurt you?
Yeah.
So like I just respond with those things. So like when people do it on the podcast, like I don't care about this person. I'm like, this seems like some childhood scarring. This episode would be great for you to watch. So it's like, I'm not gonna argue with you, but I'm gonna slide back. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I don't know. I'm like, I literally don't read anything.
I stopped. Did you get traumatized at one point? Yeah.
Well, immediately.
Right. Same.
As I started posting, I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I literally post and I get off.
Don't look. Yeah.
And I don't read the good or the bad because it's like, what's the point? I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stop doing this. So like, I don't want it to influence my creativity. I don't want it to be like, oh, this person didn't think it was funny. Well, is this funny? I don't know. I'm too anxious of a person.
No, I get that.
Yeah, I can't. I'm like, I'm still gonna do it. So if you like it, great. If you don't, okay. What
somebody's
is it
gonna
doing?
like somebody's gonna like it. I mean, that's gonna be harder though, because like you have 500,000 followers on like TikTok, on like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, like all the platforms. Like you have a large following, so like that's gonna be tough to not want to look.
No, it's so easy.
Really?
I know.
Yeah,
I'm the
it's
same
so
way.
easy. Yeah.
After my first time,
I still have insecurity issues, so I still want to look from time to
Oh
time.
my god!
I did my first National Target commercial. I went when it released on YouTube, and I went on there. I was like, "That's me in the chair."
Oh
like, duh, And
That's
like,
me.
I got on for just saying that was me in the commercial. Like, just on multiple comments. So I deleted my comment, and I was like, "Never again.
Oh my god!
Never again."
They're just mad.
And that's
'cause they
where I
weren't
learned my
in a
lesson.
commercial.
Yeah,
I know. You can't, like, there's no, because there's a blanket that people don't realize there's like another person on the end of it. It's
Yeah.
just so easy to just be like, bah, bah, bah.
I mean, like online bullying, like this is why, like, children are having anxiety now at 12 years old, and the rate of unaliving yourself starts at that age. And like, there's a documentary on Netflix about your kids being bullied. It was the mom who bullied the kids so profusely. I mean, that was a whole other thing. But like, there's multiple documentaries on this, on like how kids nowadays are so
I feel
because
bad,
of
dude.
online bullying.
Because like I was bullied at school growing up, like mercilessly, and I got to go home and escape it.
Yeah.
Now you can't even go home and escape
Right.
that, right? It's like in your pocket.
Yeah.
So it's
And you have enough going on at your, like, at home as a kid.
right.
You're dealing with whatever, whatever the happening at your house.
Exactly.
And then you're online and you're like,
And like
It's
now
awful.
you're not online. Like everything revolves around it. And then like as parents, like, I mean, they always say you like don't give your kids an iPad, but it's like, yo, your kids, you got shit to do. Your kids are fucking rambunctious, is crazy.
yeah.
Give them an iPad, sit them in the corner, and shut them up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them for a little
Yeah.
while. I mean, granted, I also don't have kids, so I can't really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I know. It's tough.
You don't want no kids.
No.
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 Yeah,
Yeah,
it seems like a
I
lot.
love them, but I love giving them back.
Yeah.
Like I love spending time with my nephews. I do, but after that like 4 or 5 hour mark, when they start hitting that point of cranky or someone
Yeah.
needs a diaper, like I don't change diapers.
Yeah.
That's not my thing at all. I've never have. No, but it's like then I can give. But like I'll buy you all the
Right.
I'll buy you all the stuff. I'll buy you all the candy. I'll give you a sugar rush to give you back to mom.
Yeah.
That sounds like a them problem.
I've always
Yeah.
said like I'd make a great dad. You know what I mean? Because I'm like I'm not really like nurturing, like kind of, you know, I'm very self-aware. I'm like, I'm not really, I know I'm not the one that's like, I want kids so bad. Like my dream is to have a baby. Every time someone hands me a baby, like people are like, isn't that great? I'm like, I don't have anything in common with this. It's adorable. Like what are we going to talk about? You know, like little kids, they're like, I want to hang out with the kids. I'm like, what do we... You know, but my mom is like that too. My mom always talked to me like an adult. She's like, "You want to get sushi?" I'm like 6. You know, she's like, "All right, whatever you're doing, I guess." But I don't know. It's just.
But like sometimes I want to hang out with the kids just so I can get away from the adults.
Yeah.
I
Like-
feel
like-
I like hanging out with kids sometimes more because I don't have to have anything in common with them. Like they don't give a
That's
Yeah.
true.
You know what I mean? They don't care that I like, you know, a certain TV show. They're just like, I just want to play and be in imaginary land. And I'm like, I live in imaginary
Yeah.
land.
This is
That's my
perfect.
job. Let's do it.
Yeah. I get that.
But like I've watched the same movie over like 97 times, but I've never actually like watched the movie. Like I've
Yeah.
seen like my nephews are obsessed with cars.
Oh.
I've never actually watched it, but like I know every character.
Right.
I know certain parts. That's it.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
But
Really.
that's all I need to know. But like
Yeah.
I took them to Disneyland and it was great. They were so excited. But then like, once they got overstimulated, I was like, I'm gonna go this way.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go that
over
way.
here.
Y'all, if you
Cool
let me
down.
know when you want to leave.
Yeah.
Like,
Seriously.
They're fun.
God.
I remember the first time I smoked weed. Like, not the first time I smoked weed. I do remember that actually.
With a kid?
No, I was in a
What
house.
is the segue?
I was in
here?
a house.
I was gonna say like, well, hold on.
We were young. I was
Let's see
like,
where you're going.
I was
Where
like,
you going with this?
I was still in my teen. Like I was like 19, 18, 19, maybe younger. So I was at my friend's house and there was kids in the house, but we were smoking weed in his room. And I get paranoid. Like every time I smoke, I'm like, I don't want to go out there. They're like, come on, man, we gotta go. We gotta join the party. So I go out there, and this little kid jumps in front of me, and he goes, yeah.
Oh God.
And like I was like, yes, yeah. And like we just started doing karate all over the house. And next thing you know, I'm just playing with the kids the whole party. And I
my
was like,
God.
oh, I feel at peace with these youngins. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
I mean, I think the weed might have helped with that.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's why, like, when I smoke weed, that's how I feel inside. I feel like a little kid, and I just want to run around and play. But like,
Also, hold on, we are not
you
advocating
can't-
smoking
I
weed and being around children. Just
Yeah.
putting that out.
Yeah, I
there.
don't smoke- I don't smoke weed.
Disclaimer.
but that's just how it felt.
Maybe I'll try that.
Disclaimer.
And I can't just be running around public like doing karate on people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you
You
could.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, right.
could.
I'm gonna get
This
fucking
is LA.
shot.
I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
This
There's
if
another
anywhere you're
guy
gonna
doing
do it.
karate
Yeah.
out there.
I can just imagine just Danny rolling up to somebody like, ha!
Yeah.
then just takes his legs and goes
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Flying kick.
Holy
Everything above the waist, you're fine. I won't be able to reach you.
This guy's a threat
Yeah.
above the
Just
waist.
taking out ankles.
He's got hands all day.
Yeah,
bro.
right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
You need to be in the new Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Create a new character.
I like that. I like this idea.
yeah.
I think that should be a skit. That would be actually a really funny skit.
Oh
You
my
being a
God.
Street Fighter.
Disabled Mortal Kombat.
See, I feel like
Yeah.
I'd get canceled for that.
Yeah.
You would.
Maybe on your channel.
I allow you to make the jokes because you're in the present. I allowed you to make the jokes. Do it.
Yeah, you know what the problem is? Is that someone not in a wheelchair is gonna get really offended. For you.
Oh yeah, for they will.
Which is, I actually wrote this sketch yesterday, because people get offended, but it's like this does not affect you at all. And they're like, I am triggered. I'm like, why are you triggered? You're not the one that should be triggered.
Yes.
But it's always like,
They need something to do.
that's it.
I mean, I
yeah.
do like. I love that I can make jokes with you about it, and I do make the jokes. But there are times where I make the joke and I think about it. I was like, "Ooh, do we need to edit that out?" Because I don't know how people are gonna feel about that, and especially now that we have like a lot of the disabled community like
Yeah.
follows us and watches it because
Yeah.
Danny's such an advocate and big in the community, and it's great. Like we love it. Like they're such an amazing community. We've learned so much about them, but I'm just like, "Ooh, are they appreciating that I made the joke?"
Yeah, I mean, let's just squash that right now. You know, we're friends. Like I
And we
When
were friends
people-
before you. So Danny's has not always been in a wheelchair. He got
Okay.
into an accident like a decade ago, and now, but
Yeah.
he says the best thing that ever happened to him, which is the most amazing fucking thing
Yeah, it
ever.
really is.
Yeah, no, it's a whole story, but like it was a blessing in disguise.
Wow.
But you know, when people hold, like my friends hold back their jokes, like I was about to say something, but I don't want to offend you. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I'm here to laugh.
Yeah.
I want to laugh. Like,
Right.
you can't offend me because you're my friend. If it's some stranger and they start joking about my okay, that's
Right.
different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But even sometimes with strangers, and if they have a funny, like, witty joke that's not demeaning to me,
Right.
I'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's like what like my core says, like, why wouldn't you, like, if you're friends and it's like, I'm not gonna not treat you the same. You know
Yes.
what I mean? That like
Yeah, because we rib on each other anyways. and
Right.
Yeah.
Like, non-disabled.
now I'm treating you differently.
Yeah.
Right.
By not on you.
Right.
You know?
Now I'm like left out. I'm like,
Right,
why are
that's
you
what
guys
I'm-
me?
That's how I feel. I'm like,
But-
in my head, I'm like, what? But again, I'm not on the other end of it. But that's how I would feel.
Yes.
It's like I'd feel weird not doing it. You
Right,
know?
right.
But I also think it's like like once you started making the jokes on here, that's when I was like, all right. I like there was one episode we had, and so I think actually it was maybe Link. And Link was talking about a movie, and he's like, it was so good, I stood up and clapped.
Standing ovation.
We just like lost. So like, all right, once he starts making it,
Yeah.
like we bought Only Wheels, you know, as like a thing.
Yes. And then for like people,
Brilliant.
people who think they're funny, making fun of people with disabilities on social media, I'm like, you guys are not original.
Right. That's also not funny.
Yeah.
It's not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you're not hurting our feeling. Like we've heard it 1,000 times. Like,
Yeah.
slow
Now
down.
it's just
Like, you're gonna get a
obnoxious.
ticket. Like, all this.
I've actually never heard that one before.
Yeah. Oh, older people will say that. Like, as you're rolling by, hey, slow down on that thing, you'll get a ticket. You know?
What?
People.
I like the
people-
accent you just did there too.
I know,
Like you're
right?
from
I
Texas.
feel like I'm in the South.
I'm picturing the person saying this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. That's it. That's an interesting, like, it's interesting to hear your point of view from it, because it's like, yeah, once people start getting so, they make it a thing, and now it's weird. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm a person. It doesn't matter if I'm Jewish, in a wheelchair, black, whatever, but it's like the second you start being weird, you've made it weird, and you're bringing up whatever it is instead of just being a person communicating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and so when you write your content, is that part of the process? Like, when you come up with an idea, obviously, and then you kind of write it down and go through the whole thing, or if you want to take us through the process, but is there a point where you have to sit and think, it's like, all right, is this going to get me canceled? Is this going to cause some things? Like, how does that process look for you?
Well, I mean, I normally, again, it's very much like situational, but I was thinking yesterday as I'm writing the sketch, I'm like, you know, the girl who's so woke, where it's just like a girl who's offended by nothing. Like, at this point, it's like she's, you know, the butter, and she's like that. You know how many cows were like held in slavery? You're promoting slavery of cows. You know, it's like it goes like there is no line, and you know the joke is like she's talking to a black dude, and she's like, "Are you promoting slavery?" And he's like, "I'm black." You know what I mean? Like, but it's like you're like a white woman or whatever it is. Like, you're just offended for no reason. So I'm like, you know, there's certain jokes that I'm writing, and I'm like,
I feel like, especially in LA,
Maybe not that one.
yeah,
to get ideas, you probably just go sit at like any random coffee shop
yeah,
and
yeah.
just hear people's actual conversations.
It's, yeah, I mean, but there's so much, like, even it doesn't even have to be LA. It's just certain things where it's like it's cultural now. There's certain things that are just like, I don't know. I don't know. Everything, even relationships, certain things. I've always had this ability to just be like, no one's talking about how that's weird, and everyone's like, I guess I never really thought about it. Like, birth control, great example. I'm like, you're just putting your kids on birth control right away and just their hormones. Like, you're not. And every one of my friends is like, I haven't stopped bleeding in like 4 months because of my birth control. I'm like, that's not good. I'm like, it's just normal. Like, it's just like my life. I'm like, maybe take a second and like
let's talk about this.
yeah,
It's
like, and every single one is like, yeah, my arm fell off, but like, whatever. I'm like, I don't get why we're not addressing this. Like, you're not thinking about this at all. But I don't know. That's just, but I feel like through comedy, like, there's a weird, you know, when you're laughing, you have this, like, your brain does this thing where you have a moment where there's an opening for like a new thought and a new idea and a new way of thinking, and you can kind of like slip something like that in where you go like, oh, like I never actually thought about that, or yeah, that is kind of crazy.
It's just wild today, like, because I'm sure, like, because how long have you been doing content for, like, over a decade,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, like, back then, though, like, we were talking about when it comes to comedy, a lot of these things you didn't have to think about.
Like I'm saying, like my sensibility, I really don't like. That sketch that I wrote yesterday is like few and far between. Most of them are very much like relationships or you know. But even like, yeah, I guess now sometimes there've been a couple where I'm like, this is hilarious, and someone like I made the sketches. I was watching some Peloton trainer, and everything was like an inspirational quote, and I was with my friend who is a lesbian, and we're watching this, and we're dying. She's like, and I'm like making fun of this girl. She's like, you're here, you're queer, and that's good. Rise up out of the saddle, like you're rising up against the oppression that you. And I'm like and my friend is dying, and like because they're always trying to be so like positive and woke. I'm like, oh, it's like the trainer who slips up, you know, and she like says something and she doesn't want to offend anyone, so she just keeps doubling down. And so I was like, oh my God, I got to shoot this. So I shot it and I showed my husband, and he's like, you can't post this. And I was like, you're not gay. Like, why are you mad? And so I sent it to like all my gay friends, and they're like, this is hilarious. Nice. And I was like, he's like, I don't know, I just don't. And I was like, all right, like whatever. If you're getting offended, someone's gonna be upset about. But for me, I'm like, it's just pointing out, like people are already on edge because they're like, oh my God, but it's like, it's not affecting you. So I did shelf that one, even though I think it's hilarious.
But like, it is crazy though, like it affects everybody around you, right? So like now you're in a movie with your husband, you guys are connected, obviously you're married anyway, so it's like, then it's like if he supports you, then whoever is mad at you is also, like, it's such a crazy trickle down effect now.
Yeah, but I guess I always am just like, if I know this is like in my soul, I usually like, this is fine. Like I did this spiritual video or whatever a long time ago. I have these characters where it's like the white girl with dreadlocks and like, you know, the type, Burning Man. She lives in a school bus. And I had this like white girl dread wig, and I'm like, I had the thought of like, am I gonna get canceled for it's so not that, but I'm like, am I gonna get canceled for wearing this like white girl dread wig? And I like hit up all my black friends, and I was like, is this cool? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, that's what I thought, but like, I don't know. I
love that you go and ask everybody. Let me know that. Let me make sure.
Let me make a poll real quick.
Yeah,
because they know me, and so they're like, dude, what do you do? But like, they would tell me. They'd be like, yeah, that's up. And I'm like, all right, you know.
But it's like you're a genuine person,
right?
Like it's comedy, is what you do, but like you're not a bad human being. So it's like, that's why most people, like, if you up and you're like, oh, yo, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
Because like, yo, I can't remember every single thing that I have. Like, I can't remember what's going on in my own life.
Yeah.
Never mind like the new thing that's happening. And I hate that I sound like, you know, my dad or like an older generation boomer.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can't keep up. Like, it's hard enough to just live every day.
I know. Especially when you're doing something like this where people are watching, you just open yourself up to that. But you just have to trust, like, no, this is a good, I'm coming from a good place. Like, don't second guess yourself. Because I feel like the second people start to second guess themselves, then it becomes weird. Like, you kind of like, it shines through and then it opens. I don't know what it is. It's like the energy in which you're doing something. If you're like nervous about it, then people can sense it.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we were actually just talking about before you got here, I speak very openly. Like, I've dealt with a lot of my own mental health struggles, right? And I've tried to unalive myself because you can't use the term.
Really?
And you can't. You get shadow banned on social media. They won't push you on the algorithm if you use it, because then they think that you're, you know, like pushing it or promoting it. And it's like, but I'm speaking about it because it's one of the largest killers in males. It's a massive problem. It keeps on getting worse and worse and worse. It's swept under the rug. So I'm going to talk about it so people don't feel like they're alone, because when I tried that, I've never felt so miserable in my life. No human being should ever feel like that. So I'm talking about it to try to help people and make a difference. So then why am I getting attacked saying, oh, well, you're trying to promote people to do that? It's like, are you listening to a word I've said?
Yeah.
Like, at all?
They just hear that word, the buzzword, and they're like, no.
That's why.
It's
I
wrong.
mean, same. Also, I've never used the term before. Maybe I'm like, I don't know, on my own people. but I've also tried to unalive myself. My father unalived himself, and it's like,
Wow.
why am I censoring
Yeah, it's
my
like,
this happened
this is
in my
part
life.
of my life. And
Right.
like
But
this,
I was affected by this.
yeah, and like this is like a real thing that is happening, and like it's insane that like the numbers that like you see every year, it just continues
Yeah.
to rise and rise and rise, and it's like, so why are we not like that's a whole point of this podcast. It's the whole point of the nonprofit foundation we have is to make a difference, because there are so many people that are struggling, but we keep on pretending like it's not happening.
That's so insane to me. I had, I mean, no idea. Maybe I'm just living under a rock and talking to people off air, about this kind of stuff. But like,
That's one of those things where it's like I'm still gonna talk about
Yeah,
it.
you
I'm not
have
gonna
to.
like that's part of everything we do. It's a big part of my story.
yeah,
We're gonna talk about it. So it's just like, all right, like me and Sophia talked about it. We're like, all right, well, we're still gonna say it, and like that whole thing. This is what we're about, and eventually it will be fine. But if in the beginning we got to take some shadow banning and things not being pushed, it
And
is
that's
what
the
it
whole
is. We're
point
gonna
is that-
we're gonna stay authentic to it, because
Right.
this is what we're supposed to be doing.
yeah. And because throughout however many people who are mad, there could be one person watching this who goes like, wow, all right, I'm
And-
not alone.
and, like-
and that's what it's for.
And like every speaking, so whenever I do like speaking engagements, it is something we talk about, and like it's something I lead with.
Yeah.
Actually, like it's part of the opening bit, and the amount of like there's always one person, at least one person, who comes up afterwards. It's like, hey, I was there. Like, I don't feel alone. Thank you for that. Like, I really appreciate what you just talked about. Like, I still go through it. Can I reach out,
That's amazing.
like, let's talk.
yeah.
So like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing with it.
Yeah, 100%. Man, that's amazing. That's really, because it does. I experienced the same thing for most of my life, just feeling like I am really just in this alone. So I think if you go through it and you make it out the other end, I feel a responsibility.
Yes.
To tell people like I've been there, and there is another end to this. But you feel so isolated,
Yeah.
and it's like I've always used the analogy of like Alice in Wonderland. She's just falling down the rabbit hole, and you're
There's
watching.
nothing-
You can't get out.
There's
Like,
nothing to grip on.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But to be able to like recognize when you're in it before you hit the bottom of it, and see a hand reaching out for you, like that's really like that's it.
But I think the hard part is, and like if you don't mind sharing some of your experience in
Not
it,
at all.
just like for where I'm coming from, it's like when I was falling, I couldn't see the hands.
Me either.
And even though like I knew they were there because I knew people, but like at that point, I also couldn't feel anything. So people are like, oh, I love you, I care about you. I don't believe you because I can't feel it.
Mhm.
And I'm so like at that point, I became so closed off to everything and everybody. So it's like I couldn't reach for the hands.
Yeah.
And just asking for help in general.
It's so,
It's so
yeah.
hard for certain people, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, it's vulnerable sometimes to ask for help with your emotions and your feelings.
I think I didn't feel like I deserved the help that was being offered to me. I was kind of in that place where I was just like, I don't even deserve to be here. So like, and then of course you get the people who are obviously trying to help you, but they're not, I would never wish that upon anybody. But it's really hard to understand unless you've been there. So people who are like, but you have all like, but you're so pretty and you have a house, and it's like I feel so much worse for feeling this way. And it's like I feel this even more like I don't deserve this help.
Yeah.
So it's just this cycle that is perpetuating.
Because I feel like there's like the stigma to it. If you have addiction problems, or if you are, in that place of SI and those tendencies, and it's like they think it's like all these people that are living on the street that are just, it's like some of the most successful people some of the most productive people are the ones that are suffering the most, but they feel like they can't talk about it because then it'll change the way everybody looks at them, how everybody views them.
Yeah.
And it's like, then you don't want to ask for help. But or like when you say, when people are like, every time it's like, but I have this and this, it's like, stop trying to belittle it. You're a human being.
Yeah.
You have your situation is different than them. It's different than them. What you're
Right.
feeling is real and valid.
Yeah.
It is okay to feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, don't knock it down and say, well, I have this and this, so I should. No,
Yeah.
feel that.
Yeah. Yeah.
People do that to me when they compare like they just hurt their foot or something, and they're like, it's nothing compared to what happened to you. I'm like, no, this is your pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're dealing with, it's real for you. Like,
Yeah.
we can't compare our, like, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
I've dealt with my stuff. Like, I obviously it's a challenge every day, but like, don't diminish your pain
Right.
because you think someone else has it worse. Like,
Yeah.
your pain is real to you, and you should not appreciate it, but like know that it's real and do something about it, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
I found like one or two people I can like really open up to, but I actually feel more that I don't want to open up when I'm struggling now, but because I've been there. And because and because people know I've been there now too. So like, if my mom calls and I'm just like going through it and I'm just having a rough time, the next 5 days I'm getting 3 to 4 phone calls a day.
100%.
And then it's just like, now I know I'm making the people around me nervous. So it's just like, then I feel bad about it. So it's like,
Yes.
I need to figure this out on my own. So like, luckily I have like 1 or 2 friends where I'm like, I just need to vent this out to get it all. And like, I get it. And but like you
so relate to that. And it's
tell me your experience on that.
Yeah, because you open up about this and people already know like this is you're capable of this, right? Like it's not you're not bluffing, and so it becomes hard when people love you and they care about you and they're so and I understand the feeling of being scared and wanting to help, but it becomes like, look, when you're struggling, but I don't know about you, but I also know like I've done so much work to learn how to like manage it, and I want to be here, and I don't want to go to that place. So I stay as far away from it as possible. But even when I'm going through something and I'm really struggling, I have the tools to utilize, but you still have to open up to people, and it's like they don't know that you have the tools. They don't know that you want to be here. They don't know all of the stuff that you've done to get to the place that you are. So for them, it's like, oh my God, like I gotta make sure. And that feels to me like it's not demeaning. It feels like that. I don't know whatever the word is, but like it feels like, okay, you're just invalidating all of the stuff that I've done to get here. But I don't blame them because they don't know.
Well, for them, it's coming from a place of shame too, because I've had a lot of my friends and family like, I wish I could have did more. It's like, well, you couldn't have, but now they're trying to make up for not seeing the signs the last time by being hyper vigilant about it. I'm like, you're just kind of causing me more stress. Like like you said, I have the tools. You just need to let me process and go through it. Like, I'm not gonna so I actually ended up going to rehab in 2023 because I found myself getting to that place, and I was like, ooh, I'm close to that, and I'm not okay, and I'm trying to escape, and I'm not using the tools.
Right.
So if I'm not using the tools, I need help. So let me ask for the help this time, but let me go to professional people who can really help me, and then I check myself into rehab.
That's amazing. And I'm finding also for me, that's kind of what I have to do, because again, like people in my life, I can't blame, like they have not been where we've been, so they don't understand really what to do, and I don't blame them, and they're trying their best. But to find people like you're saying that have been through it, that you can trust, that like it's kind of their job to not be so you can open up and still confide in people without having this ripple effect of then now you're feeling bad or whatever, it creating your own version of a safe space without like pushing people away. Because like
I'm sure you do the same thing. I use humor to it. So like there's sometimes I'll just crack a joke and certain people will be like, but like that little safe space of people, they're like, all right, I know you're good. You're still cracking that joke. Like there's still something in there. Because what people don't like, I don't think what people really get is like when you get to that point, everyone's like, oh, you're just feeling depressed. It's like, no, I feel numb now. I can feel nothing. And that's when I was like, all right, cool, I'm done with this. Where I can't even feel anything anymore. I'm not sad. I'm not angry. I'm not happy. I'm just existing.
Yeah.
That's the point where I'm like, okay, we're not good now.
Right.
Like if I'm still angry, if I'm still pissed, if I'm still depressed.
I care.
Yeah.
I care. There's something I'm still trying to work towards.
Yeah.
It's once I'm just like, I just don't care about anything anymore. And I think when I've talked to a lot of people about that, that's the thing that surprised them the most. Was that like, oh, I figured you would just be so like anxious and depressed. It's like, no, once that ran out, that's when I just didn't have any more will.
Right.
I was like, fuck
and then
this.
you're like, what's the point?
Right. Exactly.
Right? So what tools have you talked about tools, like what stuff that you have learned, if you care to share any of that?
Yeah. I think for a long time, I like, especially when I was young and trying to, I always wanted to just be happy, right? Because I knew like there's so much going on in my world when I was a kid. my brother was a show and my mom's going through all this stuff and I'm experiencing this. But again, I wanted to protect everybody else. And I found that like when I was happy, and it's not, you know, my mom's fault, but she's like, God, you're such a good kid. You know, like I just never have to worry about you. So I'm like, okay, I can't let this out. And then feeling bad for feeling the way that I was feeling. And so I went through, I think I just, because it was during such a formative, you know, stage in my life, I just did not allow myself to feel anything other than everything is good. And if I did feel that way, I would punish myself. I was like, no, like don't like try and like get it out of my body. And so as I went through this process of trying to, you know, heal, I realized I'm like, I don't even know how to feel like anger or any of, I never learned how to do that. And so now I'm, you know, a 30-something-year-old woman trying to like, acting like
Process
a toddler.
Yeah.
Really, because I remember I had a friend who was telling me about how her child was behaving, literally a toddler who's like, she screams and she, you know, like has this whole thing, and then I give her a hug and I comfort her, and I'm like, that's literally how I've been. Now that I've started this process of trying to recognize emotions, like that's how I deal with stuff. And I'm like, okay, now I have to learn how to like emotionally regulate as an adult person. Like this is embarrassing. But
you know how many adults are trying to regulate?
Yeah, I know. But it feels like that when you're like, oh my God, like I've already done all of this work to get here. And now I'm like at the phase of life that like a child is going through, you know, you're like, whatever, I'm going to do it. So, and then communicating my mom is a therapist, which the irony of that is not lost on me. But you know, so like she communicates. Doctors' kids are always sick, man. So she thank God though, she really like taught me how to communicate and always told me like, you know, you have to talk to people, which I didn't, but I saw her lead through example. In certain instances in my life, I did do that. So I've always, I think I just had the language in my head of how to communicate with people because of her. And then I became an over communicator. Now I'm talking about everything. And now people are getting worried in my life that are like, oh, and I'm like, oh, God damn it.
Thank you, therapy.
Where does it end? How do I do this?
There's no middle ground.
Yeah, there really is not. So I think it's just still like trying to find a balance and then recognizing there's certain, you know, like attachment style. Great example. Now I'm like,
you read that book?
Anxious attachment.
Anxious attachment, secure attachment.
Oh my God.
Avoidant attachment,
Yeah.
and then there's like the little. Yes, I've read like every book.
Me too.
I'm just like,
yeah.
This is annoying because then now I go into things and I overanalyze the. I overanalyze my relationships.
Yeah.
I overanalyze my work things, and I just overthink so much.
Yeah, but I wonder if that comes from a place of being like, I know if I don't do this, maybe I'll get back to this place again. So I want to make sure that I am like totally on the right path because I never want to go back to this place again.
Yes, I agree with that.
That's how I feel. Where I'm
agree
like,
with that.
and I think you become, and it sounds like you're a lot like me, where you know you're always like a little anxious. You gotta, and I'm like that too. Where
Every
I'm
day.
It's
Same.
Yeah, it's just kind of like.
It's like being tired. I'm tired and anxious. It's just a lifestyle.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
It's just a lifestyle now.
Where it's like now I don't want to get back there, so I gotta do the thing and like.
Yeah, and the hypervigilance is crazy because like I'll notice every little thing about me, about the people around me. If a mood changes, if something shifts, I can pick up on that, and then it's like, is that my emotion? Is that theirs? Did I do something to trigger them? Am I triggered? What am I processing? What is going on here? How do I do this? While I'm in the middle of 97 other things, then I'm having this whole internal dialogue, not listening to a word you're saying, but still trying to take it in anyway.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it really is.
I think that's why I'm tired all the time.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Your
mentally
brain,
exhausting.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
mentally exhausting.
But I will.
You're like a machine. People are always like, how are you? Like, I'm tired. Like, yeah. I'm like, it's just a lifestyle now. Like,
Yeah,
it's
this is just who I
It's just
am.
part of me
Yeah.
now. Just always tired.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah. And then you're like not doing it, and then you have to be on. 'cause,
Yeah.
like,
You have to turn it
Yeah.
instantly. I go from being in a depressed hole to like, hi, I'm great. How
Yeah.
are all of you today?
Yeah. Let's talk about you guys.
Yeah, hi. What's
Yeah.
going on? Meanwhile, I was like barely shaking with anxiety,
Yeah.
trying to get out of bed. Like,
Yeah.
just give me another coffee. I'll be
It's
fine.
me. Yeah.
Probably-
You know what I need? More uppers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's me. Nicotine, coffee.
I mean, I can't do no more. So you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I get it.
I need something.
I need something. I need some sugar.
Let's sniff that thing real quick, dude.
Huh? This is actually what I use now.
Oh my God, I have that in my car.
Do you?
Yes, somebody gave it to me to quit vaping.
Pass it
It's,
around.
it's the best. So like when I'm working late night or something like that,
And it
like we're
wakes you
here
up.
long days, like it wakes me up without having to drink more coffee.
I've never seen anybody else with this.
Oh no, it's amazing.
And I have it in my car.
And like and it's like $8 on Amazon. Sponsor us.
Sponsor us.
What's the name of it?
We
It's
need-
like
It's in Korean. I can't read it.
green crack.
Yeah.
I don't think we could call it green crack, but
Green
it's
turkey.
called Compound Herb Inhaler. Hung Thai brand. Oh, Hung Thai brand.
Hook it up.
Come through.
That and
love it
Legos.
here.
That and Legos. It's just an interesting market. I don't know who's watching this, but I can't wait to meet them. But I will say the biggest thing that's helped me, and I am now, psychedelics have been a huge game changer for me. I mean, you can do all of the work and read all of the books, but if you still have like this, you need a little something to open up your mind and to be able to integrate all that I've learned and go through a journey and use that and be able to journal. And like I had had so many incredible breakthroughs that have really helped like rewire my neural pathways. And meditation every day, like
As soon as I wake up, that's the first thing I do.
it's because it's stillness. And when you're prone to like overthinking, it's like I'm trying to like make it so that instead of always overthinking, I maybe take a pause, like maybe slow everything down a little bit so I can kind of just be more mindful. And then one of the biggest things that I learned, got really big into biohacking.
I watched that video.
It's my
That
life.
was so funny.
Thank you. So I went to this workshop and I met this woman. Her name is Dr. Shauna Shapiro. Shout out to you. She is.
I know who that is.
Really?
Yeah.
She's one of my good friends now.
Oh, really? Okay.
I adore
That's
her.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to see her next week. She asked me to go to Esalen Institute and help her, which is so cool. It's like a mindfulness. It's Big Sur, very hippie. Anyway, but I watched her give this talk, and she is a psychologist in neuroscience, and she studies the brain and how compassion and love, you can actually, if self-compassion is one of the only things that can help you rewire your neural pathway. So if you're beating yourself up every day because whatever, let's say I'm trying to, eat healthy and I have an Oreo and I'm like, you're so stupid. Why would you do that? You're so
worst.
weak. The next day, you're going to do it again because but the second you go like, hey, it's okay. Your brain, because when you're shaming yourself, your brain goes into fight or flight mode. You can't, you can't change anything. You're just like, okay, nothing, this is how I am. It freezes. But when you treat yourself with compassion and kindness, it allows an opening for your brain to relax, and you can create new neural pathways. And the second I heard that, I was like, okay, well, if it's for science, then I guess I could do it. I literally remember being like, all right, if science says that's what I have to do. But it's obviously a process of how to do that, especially when you've been, on yourself your whole life. But it really has changed the way that I think and navigate through the world, and it's really helped me a lot.
I remember the first time I read Dispenza and reading some of that, I was like, this is a crock of
Yeah.
reading this. And I
Yeah.
keep reading it, and I'm like, all right, well, let me just buy it because I paid money for the book. It's like, maybe he's onto something here. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I was like, show me the brain scans.
Yeah.
And she's showing.
No, but you're 100% right. That like I've been so much kinder to myself because like I absolutely just like when I went to rehab, and then I actually worked with Dr. Amen, and Dr. Amen did the whole like all the brain scans and everything like that, and it was like an amazing, such an amazing experience, and it helped me so much. But like it's so expensive, and insurance won't cover it, of course. But once I did that, and then I was just like, I had more of an understanding of it. And then I was like, all right, cool. Well, let me then take everything I learned from Amen, take everything with Dispenza, and I started doing that kindness thing to it. Like, it's really helped heal my nervous system because my doctor's like, yo, it's going to take you a few years. Like, you've lived in fight or flight forever. I've worked in these crazy festival settings and parties and events, which overstimulate the fuck out of me. So it's like, they're like, yo, you have to do this because your nervous system is so depleted and your sympathetic nervous system is so depleted. It's going to take you 4 or 5 years to get back to like whole. So I'm just like, okay, so I have to do this. So yeah, like there's days where like same thing. I'm trying to eat healthy, and then it's like, I just want a pizza.
Yeah.
And then I do it. Usually I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
What am I doing? And then it's
Yeah.
like, all right, well, I want a slice of pizza. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the big deal? And then, I don't beat myself up as much.
Yeah.
I still have moments, which I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So that's been my process, and I'm sure there's gonna be a bajillion other things that I'm like, oh great, now I've done this, and here's this.
well, it's like, it's Pandora's box, right?
Right.
Once you
It really
open it
is.
up, like, oh, I healed this, but that actually leads to this, and then there's this trigger, and it's like going back to like even what you ever heard of the Hoffman Institute?
This sounds really familiar.
So I did the Hoffman Institute,
Okay.
and the whole premise is basically your parents you up.
Oh,
I mean,
great.
and not specifically, but it's like in your in transformative years, there were things that happened.
Right.
That same thing. Your mother gave you a compliment,
Right.
but even in the compliment, you took it as, oh well, I have to be good then because you need that, and I'm trying to protect you, which
Right.
then didn't help you as you grew.
Right.
So the whole concept of it, it's like you're gone. We're up in we were in Sonoma for a full week. You're off the grid completely. No phones, no nothing. You use your childhood nickname. No one's allowed to talk about what they do, who they are, anything, and you're just immersed in this process. And the point is to really deep dive into that. So it's a ton of meditation, things along that lines, to deep dive into your subconscious to get back to those moments.
Whoa.
And there was a lot of things that I put down that I just came up, and like the amount of times I cried more that week than I did in a long time, and then after that I've been crying a lot now. But
Yeah.
but it opens it up. But it's like it all goes back to those things, and then you have to re-heal that.
Yeah.
And it's a wild process.
Yeah.
We're talking all about all of our stuff.
Chime in here.
What do you do when you're
I'm
anxious?
probably peeing myself right now, to be perfectly honest. No, I'm serious. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom soon.
No.
I have a spinal cord injury, so my biggest thing is that because my body's like failing me every minute of the day, so like it's always in my mind.
Yeah.
So I'm never at peace.
God.
You know what I mean?
It's
So
always worried about it.
always, and like procedures haven't helped, medicine doesn't help. So like now I'm just like I have to deal with it, and it's very like before I could never talk about this. I would never have said that just now in front of a guest or anyone. But now it's like, this is like what we deal with. And like, people don't see like, being disabled is really hard. We wake up with a challenge. We face challenges that people don't realize are like not challenges, like just holding your pee.
Yeah.
So I'm getting emotional.
No, I'm getting emotional also.
So like, yeah, man, it's so anxiety inducing, to like have that where you never feel like flying sucks. Like there's so much, and I hate to like bring it down,
Nah,
but
bro, talk about it. It's what we're here for.
But also, like, I can laugh at it. Like, I found, like, through laughing and comedy, like, hey, man, I just my pants. You know what I mean? And, like, people are like, oh.
they don't know if you're serious or not.
No.
And I'm like, I actually didn't this time. But, like, when you said, earlier, you just said, we're so prone to, like, being used to ourselves all. And I looked at you, watch. Whoever's, like, going to look at this footage is going to see me go. Because that is like something that you never think at the age when I was injured 33, and like because of my spinal cord injury, I can't feel my bladder or bowels, so like I was pooping and peeing on myself all the time, and like that is so like it makes you not feel like an adult or a human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that took years of like dealing with, and like it's still like, if it happens in the moment, you're like, this is the most horrible thing ever.
Oh.
And it'll ruin your day. But like I've learned to like okay, it wasn't a big deal. Like this is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like those are the little things, like the stuff that you're talking about is not beating yourself up.
Right. Yeah.
And like being like, it's okay. Like deal with it in the moment, process it and move on. Like you're alive. You're still breathing. Like,
And
that's what's important.
it's just part of how life is. Like I
Human
remember when we had Chelsea Hill on, and we were talking about, you two were saying like, one of the things that everyone always asks you guys is like, oh, don't you wish you could walk again? And you're like, we don't even think about that. We think about every other part of things like you were just talking about. Like the walking thing isn't even in the forefront of my mind anymore. And when you're like, I don't even think I'd want to, if I could coming up, and like and I was just like, I was like, wow, I've never, and we've never had that conversation before. So I was like, wow, okay, that was something I never thought of, and it's wild to think.
Yeah, people think like walking is like the end all be all. Like that's because we can't walk, that's the most horrible thing. It's like, no, I can get from here to there.
Yeah.
Can't climb those steps without help. That sucks.
Yeah.
But I can get in my car. I can do this. I can go on roller coasters. I can jump out of plane. I can do all that.
Yeah.
But I can't hold my pee. That's the that gets to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like, there's always something that, again, you never know what somebody's struggling with. Like, that's not the thing people would think about.
Yeah.
On top of all the other life.
Right.
Yeah, literally.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
Yeah, like that's just something that it's almost like, oh, what it's something that you just become so used to, like it's almost like a habit, or that you just like learn to deal with it, right?
yeah.
But like it is always there. It's like tickling my brain, like,
Yeah.
gotta go to the bathroom.
Something in the back of your head.
Yeah.
That you're always, yeah.
Which it sucks. Like modern medicine is, I've done multiple surgeries, and it just like nothing has like actually fixed it to where I don't think about it.
Right.
You
yeah.
know?
And at a certain point, it's almost like even if that were to happen, it's like you're so set in the mindset of like, okay, but what if it doesn't work? It's like, because again, like different situation, but still, it's like you have these tools and like everything's fine, but like
Until it's not.
what happens when the other shoe drops?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything's fine now, but it hasn't been fine for so long that like, oh, something could happen, anything could happen, and then you're in this place of just full panic.
Right.
But everything's fine right now.
Yes.
And I think so many people like live like that. And as much as like a lot of people don't talk about it, it's like I was like, oh, your life's going great, and I was like, yo, are you excited about everything you're doing? And I was like, I try not to be. They're like,
Yeah.
well, why? You should be. It's like, because I'm waiting for something to take it off course and wreck it, and then I won't spiral as far down as I was because if I got really excited and then something happened,
Yeah.
my anxiety, I'm going to go off the deep end, and then people are going to have me on a live watch.
Yeah.
That's helped me too, like with with auditioning, let's say. Like I used to like, I have to have this part. This is me, and then you don't get it, and you don't get a call back, and then you see who the person got it, and you start comparing,
Yeah.
and like that ruined me, for weeks. But then when I finally like lowered the here's what I did.
Yeah.
You take it or leave it.
That's all you can
I'm
do.
gonna go over there and pee on myself for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Correct, but like I
But
think,
like now, like, so, but if I don't get it, it's not.
but there's also a double-edged sword to that now, because like, yo, man, we've accomplished so many cool things here, right? And like I'm working on so much stuff, and I have yet, and I don't think I've like said this out loud to a lot of people, I have yet to really be excited about it. Like I've accomplished so many things the last few years, but I have yet to be like, oh, I'm proud of myself. Oh, I've accomplished this. Oh, this is great of what I'm doing. I have yet to celebrate it. Like at all, any of the events you've came to a mind, the album that I just finished, like all the stuff we're doing. Like I think the most celebrated was when we got the keys to the studio. Me and Sophie, like, all right, let's take a minute and be happy. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. Now we got work to do. Like I have yet to celebrate anything. So it's like trying to find that middle ground.
Yeah. I think if you just have the verbal, like with me, sometimes I'll literally go like, man, you did good. Like,
Yeah.
be proud of yourself. You did,
I try that. I don't
you
believe
do that.
I just don't like.
That's
You
the-
get it. Yeah,
yeah,
I
do.
don't believe it.
I get it. I know what you're saying, but like I try to all the stuff that I've done this year. I'm like, people ask me like, how's your year been? I'm like, I don't know, it's been all right. I'm like, oh no, wait, I did all this stuff,
Yeah.
and I accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
But like, I guess we have a hard time of like
Yeah.
giving ourselves praise, or like just,
Oh,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean?
And then
accepting that we did something great.
I go down the rabbit hole of like, yo, is it ever gonna be enough?
Is
Am I ever gonna get, like, I prayed to get to where I am now. Okay, well now I'm here. Now I'm praying to get there, right? Like you have like 500,000 followers on all your socials. Awesome. I want to get there. Cool. Once I get there, am I gonna be like, well, now I need
Well,
million,
yes.
what
Yes.
point in time? Yeah.
Yes.
Because you're there and you're like, I need to get to here now.
Yes, and I'm telling you, it's really is like it's that other shoe. It's the other. If I work that hard, then it can't fall that far. If it's not
Exactly.
gonna, I know exactly what you're talking about, but it really is, and that's what I had this breakthrough when I was doing this LSD journey and really like and working through all of this shit. I had to sit. I remember sitting down and asking myself, what are the facts? What are the and I don't have this. I don't. Okay, what? Look around. You have a career. So that story's not true. You have a relationship. Okay, but I'm not XYZ. And then literally bringing myself back and going like, no, but you have this. But and coming to the realization that there is no other shoe. There is no other shoe that is going to drop. It doesn't exist. I'm creating this in my head to protect me. I'm getting emotional because it was so pivotal. Just being like, I'm here right now. And to be able to like recognize that you're living by this fear of like protecting yourself, that it doesn't exist. And that's like, what a liberating experience that was, to go like, oh my God, okay, I actually have everything that I want right now. Then why am I scared? there's no reason to be scared.
Yeah.
Like there isn't. It's just in my head. And that is like, so that place is, and I still work through it, but having had that experience and knowing, like, remembering there isn't, and like, this is, you know, I'm still sometimes struggle with beating myself up, but like, what matters is right now, and I have it right now, and I will start to not have it if I keep going down that hole, because I'm going to sabotage it by being scared that I'm going to lose what I already have. It's crazy. Yeah. You know?
I need the number of that LSD person.
I mean, there's so much work with psychedelics now, and especially, like, you know, people with PTSD, like, you know, veteran, all of these things. And it really is, like, you know, obviously under, like, the supervision and doing it responsibly.
Yeah.
But
I think that's what you have to, like, really nail down, is that, like, if you're going to try this, like,
100%.
go to a medical professional. Like, don't take stuff because we, like,
no,
for,
absolutely
you know?
not. No.
Yeah. But, like,
do it. I mean, there are clinical trials happening. I mean, there's ketamine clinics popping up, and there are it's working. Like, and it is working for. I know so many veterans who have gotten over so much, I mean, insane trauma working with these things, because, you know, sometimes it's so deeply rooted inside of you, and you've learned all of these tools to cope with it, to be a functioning member of society, that, like, traditional therapy is not going to work.
Yeah.
As you know what I mean? It's so deep in you that you need something else.
Right. It's like a chemical imbalance that you can't heal, I guess.
Yeah. I
or
mean,
maybe you can.
No, I mean, I've been in therapy for like 15 years now, and I still hit the wall. Like you said, like, I know that all these things exist, and it's like, okay, but we've gotten here. So if I fall, but you're right, there is no other shoe. I should, like, this is dope. And at the end of the day, it always works out.
It always
works out. Like, so, like,
exactly
but like,
right.
but I feel like part of the process is me having to worry about it and have a breakdown about it, and then it works out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, I've put so much into this nonprofit, and there's so many people that work with us on and now that I love and appreciate, and that support everything we do. We become a team and a family. And my biggest fear is losing those people, because this doesn't work because of something that's outside of my control. And it's like, but that's not the case. And even if it doesn't work, I'm still not going to lose the people. But
right.
but there's just something in your mind that doesn't, like,
I don't believe
it's wild that, like, people, like, again, being exhausted every day, it's like, yo, I'm exhausted because I'm literally fighting myself every minute. Every day I'm fighting myself to stay positive on top of everything else that I'm trying to do. And when you're people who are productive and you were trying to do all these really cool things, it just piles and piles. So then it's like, I have to talk myself, not only to myself, but about this and that and that and that. Now I have like 19 conversations going on in my head while I'm trying to just be here. Like, it's.
God, I get that. I really get that. Yeah.
We don't give ourselves enough credit as humans, just surviving the day.
Yeah.
You know, it's so easy just to, like, you know, unalive yourself, give up, right? I think that
we weren't meant for all this. Like, think about it. Like, as you know, back to the old caveman days, whatever. Your job was just to survive. Yeah. Find food, find shelter, survive. We weren't meant to do all of this and have to pay bills and live in a society in a confined structure and do, like, this is not the norm of how it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And now technology, adding that factor, and
now you're adding social media and the comparison.
So much.
All of these things that exist.
I do miss, like, I miss not having a phone in my pocket. Like, I felt like I was way more productive creatively. And, like, granted, it's a great tool now. Like, you can put up all your stuff and, like, record it. But, like, I remember, like, thinking when I first got to LA, you know, we had, like, a Thomas guide map to, like, get around the city, and it was, like, terrifying, and you'd always be late because you never know where the you're going. But, like, that shit was exciting in its own way, frustrating.
Yeah.
But I do miss, like, just
being present.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I'm addicted to my phone. Like, addicted to my phone. It's like always there, and I've been trying to, like, cut down because I know it's like it's affecting the other things in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do miss, like, I guess it's a simpler time, you know?
I think it's like you're saying, like, we may not have supposed to be here, but, like, you know, we are here. So how are we going to navigate this? Like, I know that I'm prone to, like, getting anxious and comparing myself, and I'm like, this is gonna make me hate myself. I know that I naturally do that anyway, so I put my phone when I go to bed, it's on the other side of the room. I don't look at it because I go like, and there's no good. I don't, when I go on my, like, first time I go in my morning, it's not till like, after I've worked out, and I really don't look at my phone because it's like, I know that I'm capable of that, and I know that's like, it's not going to help me be productive, but you have to like set your own limitations and like make your own rules on how to navigate it so that you can like navigate it in a way that serves you.
Right.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
What else you got? Because you've given us some really great mental health advice so far. So like, what are a couple other things you would tell people that are like kind of struggling, or that you think like, obviously that's a great tool. Don't keep your phone by your bed. What are some of the other things that you've like worked on over the years to maybe
God, it's just like, you're never going to be somebody else. This was a big thing for me too. I'm like, social media is really hard. You're looking at people, especially as, a girl. I know it's the same for guys. Like, I don't look like this, or I'm not this in shape, or whatever it is. And like anything that's like, this is not, they don't even look like that. You know what I mean? Like you have to remember that like, this is a facade. What we're looking at is not real. It's like, you look at someone, look how happy they are. Like, look at how like great their life is. And you're like, people think the same thing about me, and I'm struggling all the time, or whatever. No, you know what I mean? Like, It's so easy to just like forget that there's an actual human being at the other end of it, and you go, I want to look like that because everything in their life is perfect and blah blah blah. It's like, we're all just people. Like, that's it, and I just am always trying to find things that I go like, all right, I'm naturally, anxious about X, so I think it's better if I don't do that. And like, if just because I might miss, some pop culture stuff or whatever, but like it's worth it to me to not, if it's saving my sanity, I'll be fine, So I think it's just little things like that. It's like easy to feel like there's a lot of FOMO, and I never really had FOMO because I'm like worried about myself. I'm like, I got a lot going on here. I don't want to like participate in that. But I think it's like, there's a culture of feeling like you don't want to miss the next thing, and you want to, but it's like, you just being able to say like, this is me for all my flaws, and being authentic, and trusting that like, that's actually the coolest thing you can do, is just be yourself and own yourself. Like, that's what everybody should want to be like, and I'm still working on it. I think, you guys are like open and vulnerable and doing this thing, and like, that's so cool for people to like, that everybody on the internet is doing the same thing, and like, but the second you see someone that's actually being authentic and like, that's what people want to see. That's what I want to see. Yeah. It is. And it makes you feel like, oh, that's rad that person is like just putting themselves out there,
Yeah.
And people want to it great, but I think like, in my experience, people are really supportive,
Awesome.
As far as your because we haven't really talked about like your content creation, a lot of it, like how do you build your teams? Like, where do you have any advice for someone that like wants to make these videos, and
start small, and don't, I'm anxious, find your own way, right? Like I was like, I never want to be stuck like, oh my God, I have to make another video. I'm like, I write for a month and a half, I shoot for like a week, and then I edit for a month and a half. I'm always 3 months ahead. I've like got a 3-month backlog on all my stuff, because I know I'm gonna be anxious, and then I'm gonna let myself down, and I'm gonna spiral. Everything in my life is like, how do I how do I not spiral out of the control?
Yeah.
What can I do? So I was like, great, I'll do that. So that's part of the process, is like, I want to be able to enjoy every aspect of this and not feel like it's coming from a forced place. And then also just like trusting myself that I think this is funny and good, and that I'm coming from a good place, and hopefully it makes people laugh. And I'm just working with people that I love and trust and want to be a part of it, and are stoked, and not feeling bad about asking them, and and then having them be like excited about it. And I'm like, wow, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Nikki, thank you so much for being on. We
Seriously.
really appreciate
Thank you for
the
being so
vulnerability,
honest.
the
Yeah.
honesty. It was great.
This is so fun.
And for the laughs.
All
stop
the
it.
laughs. Thank you all so much for checking out this episode of The Chaos with actress, comedian, content creator Nikki Howard. Check her out at Nikki Howard at all of her platforms. I'm your host, Mikey Tableman, alongside
Danny J. Gomez.
We'll catch you next time on The Chaos. Peace.